You don't lack discipline, you're trading in survival mode. And as long as you're trading in survival mode, you're going to trade like 99% of all the other traders that consistently fail at trading. And it's going to be difficult for you. In order to get into the 1% bracket, you have to get out of survival mode and get yourself into flow state. So in this video, I'm going to go through why your nervous system is actually the biggest reason for sabotaging all of your trading efforts. And until you understand this and actually fix this at the root cause, then you can overcome this hurdle and then level up. So make sure you watch this video to the end because I'm going to go through a couple of key points that you need to understand. So first of all, survival mode. Okay? This is what it looks like. You don't need discipline. It's not discipline that you need. Okay? But because survival mode, you automatically have this ego, and then you think that maybe it's a weak mindset, or maybe it's a bad strategy, or maybe it's a lack of effort. And I'm going to tell you that it's none of those. You can be successful with trading with a half-decent strategy if you're in control of your nervous system, if it doesn't control you and make you go crazy. And this is what happens when your nervous system takes over your body. You go into threat response. This threat response from your nervous system looks like this. It creates fear, it creates anger, and then you trade. It creates urgency, and sometimes you think that you need to study more. This is all the reactions of being in a threat response. And that is how the body reacts in survival mode. So you're always going to be in this loop. And as long as you're in this loop of threat response, you know that feeling when you go to the charts and you've been studying all weekend, and then you look at the charts in the live markets and you go blank? Like all of a sudden you don't know what to do. You feel lost. But then when you step away, you can talk about trading and you can talk about your setup and you can explain it really well, but you freeze. That's because it's this threat response from your survival mode. You're unregulated. And so you don't understand this, and then you think that you have a weak mindset, you blame it on the strategy, and so forth. Effort, you need to try harder. And then what happens being in that survival mode, you go over here and you try to put in more effort. You are trying harder. Now you're watching every single ICT video 5 times. You're doing everything more than everybody else. You think you're hustling. You're grinding. You're putting in the chart time. You're staring at charts, right? You're mixing that up. That effort is being mixed up out of survival mode. It's not actual work. And the more effort you put in, and then when it doesn't work out, it becomes more of a threat to your survival mode. And that increases, you see? And then the whole thing is all chaos. And this is a vicious loop that 99% of traders are stuck in, and they don't realize it. They think it's something else. They think it's the strategy. But it's actually just this loop. Studying more, trying to go trade, and then going blank, forgetting about your strategy and your entry model, and then being confused of what to do in the moment, because all of these things are being triggered. You're not in flow, you're in chaos. And so you end up trading. Now, this is important. This is why people love trading, because they're in this survival mode and there's this pressure being built up. So they trade to release or for relief. It's like a pressure valve. All of this pressure is being built up, and then they have to click the button, any button. As long as they click the button, doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It's a FOMO trade, it's a bad entry, it's something. It feels like work, it feels like effort. And then that is like a release of all of this negative energy that is being built up. It's letting that energy out. So basically, you're trading the chart, not for the chart. You're trading to release and relieve yourself of all of this pressure, which is the wrong reason to be trading in the first place. And as long as you're doing that, you're never going to get consistency, because you're trading to release this chaos in you. Does that make sense? And so you really need to spend the majority of your effort not on the strategy. I'm not saying to ignore the strategy. Of course, you need a strategy. But maybe put 10%, 20% effort into your strategy, and the remaining 80%, you want to focus on being in flow state, being in alignment with your body, your mind, and the market. Making sure that you're well regulated, that you are able to take deep breaths, you're calm. You see, being calm is the edge. You have to be calm, because if you're not calm, then you're the opposite. And that means you're all over the place, you're panicking, you're urgency, you're feeling like you're not going to think straight. That's when you go blank. So you need to stay calm under pressure. It's not even pressure. It's just a chart. It's just candlesticks moving. It's nothing. It's all in your head. And so being calm is the edge that you need. This is the sniper move. And being calm is the requirement if you want to have any kind of success in trading. Imagine shooting a rifle and you're panicking. You're going to shoot everywhere. It's going to go all over the place. But if you're relaxed and you're calm, you're able to take your time and aim correctly and wait, and then take the shot in a calm, regulated state. You see, your goal as a trader, as a professional trader, is not to be catching the moves and panicking and taking whatever trade. It's to take one well-regulated trade. Because if you can take a regulated trade, you're gonna stick to your checklist. You're not gonna skip your confluences. You're self-aware. You know how you're feeling. You're gonna think better. You're gonna be trading from clarity and calmness, and you're gonna make better decisions. You see, in trading, you don't get paid for doing more. You get paid for for making better decisions. And how do you make your decisions? Based on the way your nervous system is reacting or not in the market. It's really that simple. And this is the biggest secret that nobody really talks about, or nobody really talks about it in depth. I've heard, professional traders talk about, oh yeah, you gotta regulate your nervous system, but they say it in a way where it doesn't feel like a big deal, where in actual fact, it is the biggest deal. I've heard about people talk about trading psychology, fear and greed, so shallow, it's not a big deal. And in actual fact, it's everything. Does that make sense? Your attention needs to shift from the wrong things. You're focused on the wrong side of the equation. If you just focus on the strategy and the strategy and the strategy, you're going to go blank when it's time to execute, and you're not going to be able to execute that strategy because you're not in flow. You're all over the place. You're stuck over here in chaos. Does that make sense? You need to go from reaction to regulation, survival mode into flow state. That is the secret. And that is the secret to being disciplined. Once you are in flow and you're regulated and you're calm, discipline becomes easy. It's not a battle. You're not fighting discipline. Discipline just comes. You don't have to fight it. You see, there are two types of traders. There's trader A, which is trying to be disciplined. He goes running, he eats clean, he wakes up early, he journals, he does all the back testing, he does all of that crap. And that is good, but he's fighting his nervous system. He's unregulated. And he collapses. He does all of that work, and then when it comes time to trade, he crumbles. He FOMOs, he goes into panic, he revenge trades, he sizes up, he doubles down on, he gets married to a narrative, and then the thinking becomes cloudy. You're not making good decisions at that point. That is trader A. Trader B. Trader B is the professional trader that is funded. That's the guy that is getting the payouts. That's the guy you want to be. That trader, yes, has his strategy, works on the strategy, but spends more time regulating and working on the nervous system and the subconscious programming and the nervous system, how they're feeling, the inner work. Because trading is a mirror reflection of your internal state. Make sense? So if your internal state is always in survival mode, you're always going to be stuck here in chaos. How is that going to work out for you when you trade? You're going to just you're going to blow your account. And so being in flow is feeling safe, feeling calm, regulated. That is where you make better decisions. And that's what I do with my students. I work with my students to regulate themselves with the Inner Edge Pro. We also clear all the negative emotions, all the threat response, all the fear, the doubt, the hesitation, all of those negative emotions, we get rid of them. And then we retrain the subconscious mind. We reprogram it for your new trading identity, and you get regulated at the same time. You're regulating your nervous system. You cannot tell yourself to regulate your nervous system. There are techniques that you have to apply. There are certain breathing techniques and many other techniques that you have to apply to make it permanent. Once you can become regulated and you can maintain that as your default state, long enough period, that becomes your new identity. By standard, your body will always go into a regulated state. And that is the parasympathetic state that you need to be in. If you're always, flow state is parasympathetic, sympathetic is your chaotic side. That is your monkey brain reacting, the amygdala, making all of the decisions that 1,000 years ago worked really well to keep you alive in the jungle. But in trading, you got to be in flow. You cannot be reactive. You got to respond. You got to be self-aware. This is the biggest secret. And it's the biggest epiphany that you're ever going to have in trading, okay? And once you can accept this as for what it is, and see, this is the missing piece. You keep searching, you keep looking under every single rock, you keep trying every single new guru, new mentor, new strategy, and you're running around and you've tried everything and nothing works. This is what works. Until you fix this, nothing else is going to work. I guarantee you. And I say that with love. I say that because I want to see you win. Because this was my breakthrough. This is how I fixed myself and was able to level up in my trading and become consistent. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead, like, subscribe, drop your comments below. Let me know what you're struggling with. But until the next video, you're on your own. Take care now. Goodbye.